What were the things, if any, that impressed you about what the Bears were able to do?
Well, I think the cool thing is it seems like the Bears were on to the Packers game right away too. Like just even in the locker room videos, they're like, all right, cool. Great win, guys. Let's move on to getting revenge against Green Bay. And I think that's kind of indicative to where this team is right now, which is something we're not used to, but a really good sign. I think that's how they played yesterday. They took a opponent that they should have beaten pretty easily, and they made it look easy with a couple exceptions probably in that second quarter where they could have put the foot on the gas. I still thought they were moving the ball pretty well during that quarter. They just a couple things here and there went against them, and they left some points out there. But I kind of looked at it like, remember when they played the Saints earlier this year and they had a similar situation where I think they were up 20-0, whatever it was, and they let the Saints score 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is a 1-score game all of a sudden. So I think that's just another example of how this team has come along and gotten better and improved in certain situations, because instead of letting that happen against the Browns, they were able to come out of halftime and really, dominate the third quarter. And all of a sudden it really wasn't a game at all in the fourth quarter, which is how it should be. And I thought, I'm sure we can get into a little bit more detail, but I really thought Caleb played, I don't know if it's overall his best game of the season, but it was definitely his most accurate game of the season. And that's encouraging because he was kind of on a trend there for over a month where almost every single game you could question the accuracy and at least make the conclusion that it wasn't quite where it needed to be. So for him to bounce back from that interception against the Packers and have what I thought was just like, he kind of just looked the most comfortable he has all season. And that's important to me because they still were playing a pretty good Browns front, and Myles Garrett was out there. So while the Browns might not be very good, for him to look comfortable against that defense and that front, I think was very encouraging.
I'm with you, Adam Hoge, here on Spiegel and Holmes. I started the show with that, saying that I thought that was his most impressive game as a Bear, or certainly his most impressive this year with what has been a crazy, difficult ask. Here's a brand new system. Here's an NFL system. Figure it out. And you gave all a lot of the details as to what I saw. I thought I kind of heard it in post game too, Adam. Like he was confident and arrogant a couple of times in a really funny way, which seemed genuine and deserved after a game like that. Like I thought Caleb was a man in full yesterday during the game and after the game.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how many people have been following the evolution. I'm going to switch sports on you real quick, but of Connor Bedard, who unfortunately is hurt right now.
Yeah.
But it's very similarly, in my opinion, like something sort of clicked where he just was bringing this level of confidence to everything he was doing. Earlier this season was really when that started for Connor Bedard, where he just was playing confident with a little arrogance too. I think that's a word to use as long as people realize it's like as a compliment. And he was, even in some of the things he was saying in press conferences and from a leadership standpoint, like I think even if you start to go to the beginning of the season it's understandable why in football Caleb Williams gets named a captain, but I think it would have been fair to question, is he really like captain material yet? But I think throughout the evolution of the season, you're starting to see guys really rally behind him. I don't know if he's like full blown captain material yet, but the bonding with some of these wide receivers, and he's calling the offensive line his Avengers now, and you're just really starting to see the whole package kind of come together. And I know last week when I talked to you guys that while it wasn't perfect necessarily against the Eagles and Packers, he was showing signs to me of really playing the quarterback position well, and with his decision making and just operating the offense and looking more comfortable, looking more confident in doing so. And so I think what you saw yesterday against the Browns was sort of that all come together. Once you mix the accuracy with that, it's way easier to throw an accurate football when you're confident in what you're doing, right? So I think you're just sort of seeing this build week by week, and I don't know if it's going to be perfect. Probably won't be every single week, but you really start to look at what football teams become when their quarterback play starts to click. And that's why I wouldn't put a ceiling on anything this season, because of where this team could still go if Caleb keeps getting better each and every week.
Hoge, what's the importance of keeping DJ Moore engaged?
See, that's even the way you worded that question's tough because I don't necessarily think he's not engaged. I think that the way I was thinking about this even last night is it's a tricky thing to talk about. I know we were talking about this last week too. I just feel like with DJ, it's been a little bit of everything at different times. Like, so yeah, sure, maybe are there some routes and some reps where he's not fully engaged. But I every time we talk to him, he talks about how much fun he's having being on a winning team, and he had that same message to his teammates in the locker room, and then immediately challenged the defense when he got the game ball yesterday, saying, you know, we're going to kick your you know what in practice this week. So I don't think engagement's necessarily the issue. I just think it's been a series of different things that the most important, and this is not groundbreaking analysis, but the Bears offense is better with DJ Moore's in it and performing. So whatever it is, whether it's him being engaged and having full effort all the times, or Ben just figuring out how to use him, Caleb looking for him more, not missing him when he's open, all of those things like you saw yesterday when DJ Moore's out there making plays, it's a better offense.
I think it's Caleb not finding him, whether it was getting through the progressions, not getting there, or not trusting him in full because they had their stuff last year. We'll do it the Caleb way, and that's just that. You know, stuff like that. Or whether it's him wanting to look for Rome or thinking too much or whatever it is. I feel like it's been Caleb. That's why I loved that second touchdown so much. We're like, and DJ said, he gave me a chance. I got to go up there and get it. I was like, hell yeah, let this be a data point for their trust moving forward, you know?
Yeah, and you know, I wouldn't even categorize DJ Moore too as like your typical go up and get it wide receiver. So
Guwagi. You can say Guwagi, yeah, Adam. It's okay.
That's right. That's my bad. I should have known better. I should have gone right to it.
Seriously.
That is you. So but he did.
He did.
He went up there and he Guwagi'd and brought the ball down. So, I love the first touchdown too, because like that is a harder throw than it looks, to throw that you're on the opposite hash throwing across the field, and to drop it in there with touch and accuracy where DJ Moore runs under it perfectly. Yes, he's open that entire time, but that's easy to either underthrow or overthrow. And I think that's just, again, speaks to the confidence level that Caleb was playing with yesterday. So the first one is like, okay, I'm going through my reads. This guy's open. I'm going to get it to him with a tougher throw than it looks. I'm going to make it look easy. Obviously, the second one was more of a, maybe not the greatest decision of all time, but I'm feeling it, man, right now. You know, there was a go ball later in the game to DJ that he tried too, and that one got underthrown. But that was the same thing. Like, screw it, I'm going for these numbers right now. I'm going for this touchdown. I don't hate that. I want my quarterback to have that, even if we're going to call it arrogance. I want my quarterback to have that. All the great ones do. When they're feeling it, they're going to go big play hunting. And by the way, that matches the personality of the head coach, of the play caller, Ben Johnson, because if you haven't figured it out by now, he's the same exact way. He has that same confidence that's borderline arrogant at times. And I think we've seen that throughout the whole season. So to me, it's a great match if the quarterback is the same way.
What's the impact of not having Kyler Gordon? And I know in asking that, it's not like Kyler has played a lot of games, but it does feel like if he is available, you could maybe do a little bit more stuff defensively.
So right now, what worries me defensively beyond just, you know, a consistent pass rush, which is what it is, and they actually did a great job yesterday getting after the Browns, but it's the speed on the back end at times, because I think the biggest difference. So this is really, I'm not trying to take anything away from CJ Gardner-Johnson, but just kind of compare the difference between him and Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon has more speed. He's going to be able to cover, in my opinion, a little bit better in man-to-man situations. You saw that last week against Christian Watson. If CJ Gardner-Johnson is not going to reroute and get a jam on a faster wide receiver when he's playing press like that, he's going to get beat. Now, Kyler Gordon might also in that situation, because that's how good Christian Watson can be. But right now, between Jalen Johnson not looking 100%, you saw him a couple times yesterday get beat, even kind of got beat on the interception. He just recovered and made an outstanding play. Tyreek's coming back from his injury, and that was a hip. Kevin Byard, I think, is actually doing a great job of showing some sideline to sideline, speed at this point in his career. But I still don't know if he's up there, among the fastest guys. So you get what I'm saying. Like, there's some moments right now where I think there's going to be some mismatches against speed. That's actually why I think we'll be tracking Christian Watson's status throughout the week. But that's a huge one for me, because that is one guy I'm afraid of just because of his natural speed. So to answer your question, I think that's what they're missing right now with Kyler, because he, if healthy, and even when he came back, he was on a pitch count too before he got hurt again. This is kind of what they're lacking in the secondary. But good news, they have a great coordinator and they have a bunch of good players. So Dennis Allen's doing a great job of overcoming that, I think, with his coaching and his schemes. There's enough talent back there. Now you get the linebackers healthier and more plentiful. From that standpoint, they'll be okay. But when you get in some one-on-one situations against faster wide receivers, that's where I worry.
Guys, Jalen Johnson said it to Brad Biggs. It was in 10 Thoughts. I hadn't seen this. If you've seen it somewhere else, tell me. But, quote, you got to tear through scar tissue and things like that. When you're doing that in your groin, core, abdomen, I feel like it stops you from doing and playing at the elite, absolute best level. I mean, there it is. And he's talking about chasing down Bond. He said, you know who that is? That's a tough race. He beat me to the ball. That's a track star, former track star, the kid on Cleveland. But Jalen can't run yet. He can't run in full yet.
I think it's a couple of different things, and I think that's the most important part. I also think it's just a lack of reps in this defense. So when it's outside of his purview, when they're asking him to do more coverage stuff and more drop stuff, like, that's uncomfortable for a guy who is like, hey, I want to take on the best receiver on the other team and shadow him wherever he goes.
Yeah, and I think that I like that Dennis Allen kind of owned that last week with he didn't really go into the specifics of it, but I think we could understand what he was saying. The deep touchdown against the Packers, where he was basically asking Jalen Johnson to drop back and become that deep half safety, cover two safety, which is not really something he's been asked to do a whole lot. So I think it's a great point, Lawrence. Like, you miss training camp, and that matters from a lot of different standpoints, not just from a health, being in shape thing, which obviously with him, I'm glad he's just open and honest about that, because he doesn't quite look like himself, but also just getting reps in this defense, getting reps in this scheme, because he got some in OTAs, but he missed training camp. So there's a lot of catch up going on right now. So I'm viewing this as his training camp. I like that they limited his reps yesterday. I think that had more to do with just the game, the way it unfolded. But I did find that interesting that he actually had 10 fewer reps on the field than even Tyree Stevenson did. We'll see over the next 3 weeks how much they can ramp him back up, and how much that, I guess he's talking about scar tissue, how much that can be broken up. I don't know that we're going to see a fully healthy 100% Jalen Johnson, though, until next season.
Oh, boy. Adam, Ben Johnson creativity yesterday. That was it. The Greg Roman reptile package that Ollie Connolly tweeted about, where it's like a pistol set. Lawrence, you called it the inverted wishbone. I mean, my goodness, it's just so fun. But I guess Ben Johnson in general, there's that, and the way that he attacked Myles Garrett and dealt with that. Your thoughts on the coach yesterday?
Yeah, it's kind of like a diamond formation. We've seen a little bit of it, and it's, I think they went right back to it in a completely different way on a passing play on the very next drive. So, I mean, there's so many different examples of that with this playbook, and again, it's so refreshing. Ben Johnson laid this all out to us in his opening press conference, how he was going to dress this stuff up and make different things look the same and the same things look different. And when you can do it consistently, it becomes really, really hard to find tendencies and defeat them. And there's still moments where that does happen. But I think an example of that was even just Keyshawn Nixon instinctually breaking off last week and picking up a guy who wasn't his guy, and because they saw it on film. And so that's going to happen. But Ben just seems like he's always a step ahead by the time the game's over. There's every coordinator is going to lose reps throughout a game. It just happens on every play. So you're not going to bat 1,000 as a play caller. But I think we've seen consistently throughout the season that Ben brought up an example today, the deep, like 40-yard pass to Luther Burden, where Burden kind of sat down in the middle of the field was that something you're supposed to do, or was that? Oh yeah, it was. And Ben gave actually credit to Press Taylor for picking up something on the Browns coverages. Wow. So they basically changed a route within a concept that they've been running all season to adapt for this specific week. And then I imagine next week they might go back to what it was before. So we're getting to that pretty advanced level of play calling, play design that you need at this level to be successful. And it is very, very foreign to us trying to cover it and keep up with it every single week. It's very impressive.
No doubt about that. With Micah down, do you think the Packers get a little risky and start coming after Caleb?
Man, look, Jeff Hafley's a good coordinator. I'm sure he's going to have a plan. I'm sure it'll look better than it did in the fourth quarter after they lost Micah. I really thought that game started to change actually on Christian Watson's injury.
Yep.
That's where the game flipped, but it ended on Micah's injury, if that makes sense. Like, and you could kind of see it that they were deflated. So now they'll have some time to regroup. I will say this from his standpoint, if you're Jeff in the coordinator, like they didn't know they were going to have Micah Parsons till the season began. So they spent the offseason preparing for rush packages and whatever their plan was going to be without number one out there. So, they have at least spent a big portion of their offseason working with the idea that Rashawn Gary was going to be their number one guy. And
what a great point. Their whole install was without Micah Parsons.
Right. And so, and now look, I'm not trying to say that it doesn't matter because you've had them all season.
No, it totally matters. But the idea that you were actually throwing stuff on the board and early on in your training camp and everything else, that you were practicing with not the second best pass rusher in the league.
So my point is, like, they were probably stunned last night, but they're going to be able to regroup this week, get back to the drawing board, go back to what they thought the season was going to be like. Now, execution-wise, from the Bears standpoint, is it going to be as scary as it was 2 weeks ago or even when Myles Garrett was out there yesterday? No, it's going to be completely different, and you're going to be able to take a little bit of a deep breath if you're the Bears, but I would still be careful because this is a good defense. It's well coordinated, and I think it'll look much better than it did in the fourth quarter last night in Denver after he got hurt.
Good stuff, Adam Hoge. Always great to catch up with you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Sorry I was a little late, but it's going to be a fun week, Packer week. Can't wait.
It's all right. You turned Gawagi into a verb. You said he Gawagi'd up for the ball. It's like, so, I mean, you can be as late as you want if you do that. Further Gawagi.
All right, I promise I won't do it again, but I made up for it. Thanks, guys.